Hi, everybody. How fun it is again to be back with you. And I'm going to do a really fun, for me at least, I love this, a little program on flowers and all the things that connect to the flower, the seed, how it starts, the birds and the bees and the butterflies, how they feed on it and carry the pollen to the flower next door, and how we get fruit from it, and all the magic. And one special magic that I didn't even know that I want to share with you before we start is that you know that flowers actually buzz and the birds and the insects can hear that, and it makes this little tiny sound that we can't hear, and the birds and bees and everybody hears it and we don't. So there's so much magic that we don't see or hear. Even one more I'm going to tell you, there's a light that we can't see that the flower has, that birds and bees can see it, and it shows exactly where the birds and the bees can find the pollen and the nectar, which is the food for them. Isn't that amazing? Well, I'm going to sing you a little hello song. We're going to sing a little other song and read you a poem and a story, and I'm really looking forward. Hello, children. Hello, grown-ups. Welcome to our class today. Let's all sing each other's names. Then we'll sing and dance and play. Hi to the children. Hi to the teachers. Hi to the... Who can we sing? Teacher Michelle and Teacher Lad. Teacher Nessie and your new teacher whose name I don't know, but I can't wait to meet him. And Teacher Haya, that rhymes with papaya, and a show for you today. Let me hear you go with your mouth and warm it up. Say ba ba ba. Can you do it like a buzz 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 sound? Buzz 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 like the bees and the flower? Very nice. Okay, this is about the garden. Can you clap your hands or make your shakers shake? Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. Gonna mulch it from below, gonna make it fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, God bless these seeds I sow, and warm them from below till the rain comes tumbling down. Can you make that rain again? We need rain for our plants till the rain comes tumbling down. Very nice. Are you ready for a poem? Here's one of my favorite books of poetry, and it says, "Where do fish go in winter?" And it asks all these great questions. So look at the pretty picture. Can you see the roots of the plants like we talked about last time? And there's the flowers coming to the front at the top. Some are closed and some are open. Some are little, some are big. There's one that's giant. That's only a big flower that grows in Indonesia. It's a giant. There's giant flowers. And I'm going to read you this poem about where do seeds, or how do seeds know which way is up? It's dark underground where sunlight can't go. So how does a seed know which way to grow? The root is the first to grow from the seed. Down into darkness it digs at full speed. Gravity sensors within each young root teach it to follow a straight downward route. And once this young root has taken the lead, a tender green shoot sprouts out of the seed. Remember we saw the germinating seed, the little green thing coming out last week? The shoot only knows that its life pursuit means heading the opposite way of the root. Since shoots need sunlight to live and to grow, they force themselves up through the darkness below. The roots need water and the shoots need light. Each go their own way and it works out just right. What would you do how would you feel if you were under the ground growing for such a long time. And then you finally came out into the sunshine and you could see all the beautiful things in the sky. Well, one of the things that you can see in the sky that visit a flower is a butterfly. And I wanted to do a little bit of a story from before because we learned about butterflies and now you know a few things about them. So let's see if you like this lovely story. There are butterflies almost everywhere in the world. Butterflies can be as tiny as this one or as big as a swallowtail. We had one in my garden. It was so exciting. Here's a bigger one even. This. All butterflies have 2 eyes, just like you. 6 legs. You don't have 6 legs. Spider? Does a spider have 6 legs? I think it has 8 legs. I'm not sure. We'll have to check. 2 feelers where they smell from, and 4 wings. Butterflies hear with their wings and taste with their feet. Is that funny? I didn't know that. They use their feelers to feel their way around. Butterflies can smell with their feelers too. See how they're smelling the plant for where the pollen is and the nectar? The nectar is the liquid that they drink, and the pollen is what they eat. Each morning, butterflies wake as the sun rises. They need to warm up before they can fly. So they stretched out their wings and they sit in the sunlight. When they are warm, they flutter from flower to flower. This looks like a monarch butterfly. They fly from very far away, almost 2,000 miles. Butterflies can't chew food. They drink sweet juice from flowers called nectar. The nectar is hidden inside, very deep into flower. Butterflies hunt for the nectar with their feelers. Can they smell it with their feelers? Yeah, they look for the nectar. And they can smell it from miles away. That's far. A butterfly's tongue is called a proboscis. Their tongue has a special name. It works like a straw. It's a little bit curly. Can you curl your tongue? The butterfly pushes it deep down into a flower, and then it sucks up the nectar. And it curls around the nectar and swallows it and holds it in its mouth. The butterfly curls up its proboscis when it has finished feeding. Some butterflies live in dark jungles. Only a few flowers grow there, so they can't drink nectar. So that means they have to find something to drink, so they suck the juice from rotting fruit or meat instead. There are butterflies that live high up on the mountains. They have furry bodies to keep them warm. That's cool. Others live in hot, dry deserts like this. They sleep in the shade and only come out after it rains. Lots of butterflies live in woods and forests. Some look just like the leaves. If you were to go to Monterey, where we live, not too far, you would see how they sleep under the leaves and look like the leaves. This helps them hide from their enemies. A few butterflies have spots on their wings. The spots look like big, scary eyes. Can you see? It's supposed to scare them away. In spring or summer, all butterflies look for a partner. Female butterflies let off a lovely smell. Male or boy butterflies flitter and flutter above the females. Then the male and the female butterflies get into pairs. Soon after, the female butterfly lays an egg or more eggs. She lays 1 egg on each leaf. Can you see a leaf? So she would put 1 egg right there, right there. Inside their eggs are tiny, tiny little creatures waiting to hatch. These creatures are called caterpillars. They look more like worms than butterflies. And this looks like a swallowtail caterpillar. It has pretty lines. The caterpillar chews a hole in its egg and slowly it crawls out. The caterpillar is very, very hungry. First it gobbles up the egg. Then it looks for other things to eat. And it creeps and crawls along, wriggling its body up and down and up and down, and eats and eats and eats. It grows bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Look how big the words are. Until it gets too big for its skin. And the tight skin splits and the caterpillar wriggles out. There's new skin underneath. When the caterpillar is fully grown, it looks around for a safe spot. It hides there. The caterpillar curls under a leaf. Look how it's hiding. Slowly its shape begins to change. The caterpillar loses its skin over its one last time. Underneath is a hard, shiny shell. The hard shell is called a pupa, and the pupa hangs from the leaf. It looks like a shell, doesn't it, from the ocean? It doesn't move at all. Inside, something amazing is happening. What do you think is happening inside that hard shell? The caterpillar is changing into a butterfly. 2 weeks later, the butterfly is ready to come out. The pupa starts to crack and the butterfly peeps out. Then it creeps out. The butterfly's wings are crushed and wet. It stretches them to dry in the sun. And carefully the butterfly spreads its wings and swoops and sails through the sky. The butterfly flutters to a flower. Its wings shine in the sun. It sucks up the nectar, the juice, inside, deep inside the flower, with its tongue, which is called a proboscis. Then it spies other butterflies flying above the flowers and flutters up to join them. So the words we learned in this story that we'll do again and again are nectar, which is a sweet juice inside the flower, proboscis, that's their tongue for sucking up the nectar, and pupa is the hard shell. Very nice, you guys. And that is the story of the butterfly who's going to make a visit to our beautiful flowers that I'm going to show you in 1 second. Hi, everybody. Now I'm going to show you the flowers that I have and show you the names of the parts that we can see really easily because it's right here. This is a geranium. It's pretty, isn't it? The petals are the colorful part, and the petals are different colors, but they're all bright enough so the birds and the bees and the butterflies and even bats can see them and find the nectar inside. Now here's one that hasn't opened yet. Can you see? Let's see where it is. There it is. That's called a bud. That's not open yet, but it will be. And this little green part has a name just of its own. Just want to tell you first that the other name for flower is a bloom, or it can bloom, that's another way of saying it, or a blossom. Or it can also be a verb. It can also say, I'm going to blossom soon. I'm going to bloom. Here I come. It's spring. All right, now inside these plants, inside is a little bit of yellowy powder inside that. And inside every little one of these purple things, the butterfly sticks its proboscis inside. This is called a butterfly bush. And it has pollen and nectar in it. And it smells very sweet, and the birds and the bees love that, and the butterflies. Here's a pretty one. This is a nasturtium. And inside you can see the little things that have the pollen on them. Let's see. We can open it a little more. Can you see it? It's little. It's yellow. And there's the pollen sticking here. So the boy part, there's a boy part and a girl part in a flower. And the boy part has the pollen, has the seeds for it to grow again and make another flower out of it. and the grow part I will tell you more about. So what can I tell you is that I want to show you, hang in there, that the butterflies, they can't chew their food like we said. They drink the juice, so they smell it. This one, you can even eat the petals. It's called an edible flower. They wouldn't eat it. We could eat it. But some of them really like the smell, which also smells really good, of this flower. And the birds spread the pollen from flower to flower and eat the pollen and the nectar too. Okay, so the pistil has all the parts of the plant, which has the boy and the girl part. Inside at the bottom is just like a mommy. It has a belly, like a belly shape with an ovary and little eggs in it. And the sepal is the girl part, and that is the part that covers the bud. Where is that? This little green part. That's the sepal, right there. Right there. There you go. Here's the stem. Isn't that cool that they all have their own name? All right, now this one smells really, really good. This is called French lavender. It's very nice, and you can use it for all kinds of things, including lemonade. You can make lemonade. I'm going to go down a little bit more. You can make this, put it in lemonade or pastries and make a really good taste for tea as well. And this one, do you know the name of it? It's called a rose. And the rose has something that the other ones don't have. It's called a rose hip. At the bottom of the flower, I'm going to show you the flower. Those are the petals. They're really soft. It has vitamin C in it. And it's a cousin with the apple. So it's belonging to the same family as an apple. So this flower that your daddy or mommy would give each other, or whoever lives in your home who love each other, would give a beautiful flower. Often love is symbolized by a rose. I'm going to show you the inside of the rose, and that is called a rose hip. And when you want to be really strong and healthy, you can eat the bottom of the flower. I want to show you the inside. It's really pretty. Can you see that yellow color? So inside are seeds, if I remember properly. And I think there are seeds right there on the inside, there on the edges. Rose hips are very special. They're like medicine for getting stronger. People in the olden days used to use them for getting stronger and eating vitamin C. Now this is a big flower, and it comes from a plant called a bird of paradise. Why do you think it's called a bird? Does it look like a bird? I think it does. Do you think it does? This bird of paradise is old, so it's all dry. The colors are usually very beautiful, but I wanted to show you that there's big flowers like that. And then there's little flowers, and the butterflies like to land on them. This is called a yarrow. It comes in white or purple and yellow. And the little flowers are so little. They're very little. So here's the stem, and here's the leaf. And leaves actually breathe. If you put something to block them from breathing, you will see that they will get all moist on the inside. But if you put a bag on top of them, you will see that the moisture comes out. You will see water come out of the leaves, and it will show you it'll have drops in the bag, and that's showing you that they send moisture into the air. They're good for our air. They're good for the plants around them. If you grow them together, they're often very happy. And this one is a monkey plant. It has like monkey hands. They look like a little hand, and it's furry, just like some butterflies in the forest. It's very soft. And here's the sepal, the green part, and here's the flower on the inside, and there is the pollen at the edge of the flower. Now, if you were a tomato and you wanted to bloom and you couldn't do it yourself, somebody could help you do that. They could help you bloom. And I brought a tomato flower. I'm looking for my tomato flower. And when you shake that little tomato flower, it will shake some of the pollen off, and it will make the other pollen, it will make the other part of the tomato bloom underneath. So this is a tomato flower. Isn't it cute? Tomatoes are berries. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Very cool. And this is a little yellow flower. And if I shake, 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 all the pollen will go down and tickle, 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 tickle all the little flowers beneath it. And that pollen will actually pollinate the bottom flowers. So the tomato is really making new fruits and vegetable, or tomato is a fruit really, for all by itself. If it shakes in the wind, it'll grow. The pollen will feed the flowers below, so it'll be feeding itself. Is that cute or what? So those are some examples. Now this is a very, very special one. Look at the outside. It's hard, but not too hard. It's called a lantern fruit, and it hangs like a lantern. And it's also called the bell of love, or something of love. When we open it, they have different names in different parts of the world. It grows in different parts. It has a berry-looking thing, just like a tomato. It starts green and then it gets yellow. It's very sweet, and it has seeds on the inside. When these seeds fall down, which they do, and they go in the ground, it can grow another plant. But if we eat it, it won't do that. It'll be in our tummy. Will the flower grow in my tummy? I don't think so. But if I swallow some dirt, who knows? So I want to read you a story, and I want you to think of some questions. Ready? If you see a flower, I want you to think, what do you see? Color? Do you see any patterns or shapes? Do you see it? Well, you can't see it, but do you think it might have a smell? And when will it open? Well, this story will tell you some things you might not know. And I wanted to tell you again that some flowers make a special buzz that tells you they're full of nectar. Come and drink from me. And the bees and the birds hear them. So we also don't hear things that the flowers also do. Flowers are calling a little black bear. No, not a bear. He doesn't care. They're calling a butterfly to dip from the air. And it looks like our little plant. This is called Queen Mary's lace. Looks like a yarrow. Flowers are calling a wet green frog. No, not a frog. She likes her soggy bog. They're calling a bumblebee to look near their log. They're calling with their buzz. Flowers are calling a porcupine. No, not a porcupine. She wouldn't take the time. They're calling a hummingbird to sip at their wine. See how long the hummingbird's beak is? It goes all the way into the flower. They were made for each other, don't you think? Queen Anne's lace. Butterflies like a landing pad when they drink nectar. And that's the one I mentioned, Queen Anne's lace. Monkshod. Ooh, monkshood. Bumblebees are hefty enough to push deep inside a monkshood flower where nectar is stored. Those are big. And trumpet honeysuckle hummingbirds can use their long tongues to reach the nectar deep inside the tubular flowers, and hovering in there, they can stay up in the air long enough to get all the way in there. Flowers are calling a loud blue jay. No, not a blue jay, he wouldn't say. They're calling a honeybee to fly their way. And then when the honeybee goes home, the honeybee does a little dance and tells everybody, go this way, then go that way, then go this way, and you'll find the best flowers. Is that cool or what? Flowers are calling a little moose. No, not a moose. What would be the use? They're calling a beetle to eat their pollen loose. And there's a little beetle on their plant right there. Flowers are calling a rabbit to stop. No, not a rabbit. It's not their habit to call a rabbit. He might grab it. They're calling a bee fly to visit their spot. A bee fly looks like a bee, but it's not. Look how much it looks like a bee. Apple tree blossoms, aren't they beautiful? Honeybees help make many of the fruits and nuts and vegetables we eat by pollinating fruit. That means bringing their pollen from one place to another, taking it. And fruit tree blossoms such as the apple tree are one of them. There are also thousands of varieties of wild bees that help to make many of the foods we eat. Some bees live alone and some bees live in a big hive. I didn't know that some lived alone. Magnolia is a big flower. Beetles have been visiting flowers for more than 100 million years. And a violet's a little flower. Bee flies look like bumblebees but have 2 wings instead of 4. They have 4 like butterflies. Like hummingbirds, they are able to hover their furry bodies in the air as they drink their nectar. Flowers are calling a small brown snake. No, not a snake, for goodness sake. They're calling a pollen wasp with nectar to take. There it's going. Flowers are calling a fat raccoon. No, not a raccoon. He doesn't care for white bloom or sweet perfume. It's nighttime. They're calling a moth in the light of the moon. Moths live at night. They are awake at night, so they like moon flowers. Flowers are calling a desert deer. No, not a deer you can't even get near. They're calling a nectar bat to flap over here. There's a bat. Ooh, blowout beard tongue. Look how pretty that is. Pollen wasps, like bees, make loaves of nectar and pollen to feed their young. They make little bread, almost like bread. Now, carden cactus. They can also pollinate the flower of the cactus. But they have to be careful because they're pokey. Lesser long-nosed bats have long tongues that can reach the nectar deep inside the bell-shaped flowers of the carden cactus. These cactus flowers unfurl for just one short night. And here's I mentioned moonflower. Sphinx moths are expert flyers with very long tongues like carden cactus. The blooms of moonflowers open for just one night and depend on the perfume in the nighttime breeze to help them find it. Isn't that pretty? Flowers are calling a busy wren. No, not a wren. He's already seen them. They're calling some children like you to look again. What do they find? A butterfly. Here's a butterfly. And look at a flower. Like we said, did you ask yourself a question? Did you notice the different colors? And we talked about how they smell differently and they smell at different times too. The night flowers smell at night only. So color. Flowers that have daytime vision tend to have bright colors so that they can be easily found. Visitors, daytime visitors, if the little bees and bugs, I had a bug on my screen from bringing in the flowers. They come in the daytime and they'll have bright colors. Flowers with nighttime visitors don't have to have bright colors because there's nothing to show it off. They're usually pale with a very sweet smell, making them easier to locate in the dark. Many insects can't see the color and they just smell them. Or they just see yellow and blue and can't see the red. Here's one with a pattern. Let's see if you can see the pattern. Isn't that pretty? Patterns on flowers help the pollinator find them and find the nectar right away. These designs are called nectar guides. How is the middle of your flower different from its outer part? Would these differences help a pollinator find nectar? Inside the middle is a different color, and it's a little darker so they can see where the nectar is better. The shape of flowers is different. The shape of a flower can tell you who might come to see it. Hummingbirds can reach deep inside long, thin flowers like this, right? They need their nectar served in shallow golden bowls, like those of the apple blossom. Bumblebees are rather heavy and need strong flowers that can hold them because they have to sit on them. They can't hover. They can't fly in the air and stay there. Is your flower a tight cluster of many small blossoms such as Queen Anne's lace? Is that the one you picked up? Or a dandelion, a little yellow one? Then it will be good for all those insects that like to sit on that. Let's see what it says about smell. Does your flower smell sweet or musky? My rose smells very pretty and sweet. Does it have any smell at all? Bees like sweet smells and beetles like fruity, spicy scents. The moths at night, they love flowers that are lightly perfumed and fragrant. Nectar bats like musky smells, and some flies like rotten smells. That's funny. Birds and butterflies use their eyes to find flowers instead of their smell. They don't use it, just a little bit of their feelers in butterfly. Time of the opening. Some of the flowers only open at night and some in the evening. One is called evening primrose and is very light pink. Does your flower open in the daytime or the nighttime? Is it a night bloom? Is it calling to a night moth or a nectar bat? Day bloomers are calling to birds and insects who find them in the sunshine. So I was telling you about their buzzing, but they also can make themselves warm and get so warm that their little visitor, a bug or a bee or a bird who stays close to it at night, can stay warm. Is that cool? So they have a little heat, and it's called thermogenesis. And what else can I tell you? Some have coffee in them, like caffeine. Not real coffee, but they have caffeine, and it gives the bees a little bit of their caffeine to make them alert and faster and get more energy so they can take more nectar. Now we have to take really good care of all our fruits and all our flowers because some people put things called pesticides on the ground, and that keeps flowers from growing, or weeds that also have flowers on them. Also, some people plant grass and put pesticides, and those are toxic. They're not good for our ground. So when you don't plant a flower and you're taking away a home for a beautiful bug, a butterfly, bird, bat, all the animals that live. They're the most important animals in the whole world because they help for us, because they help us get food. Without bees, we couldn't have food, and without butterflies, we couldn't have food. And there's something in our gas called ethanol, and that also hurts the butterflies. That's really sad because we don't have as many insects now, or bees, or birds, because the birds eat the insects and they're gone, so the birds don't have as much food. So the more flowers you plant, the more you use natural things, no pesticides, then the bees can grow back and multiply, and the flowers can bloom more. And that is the beautiful story called Flowers Are Calling. Well, you've been such good listeners, everybody. I'm very proud of you. Let's see if there's anything I want to tell you that we missed. What I would like you to do is, after this, I would like you to take a piece of paper, and I would like you to draw a picture of the flowers in your garden. You could look at the soil, the dirt, you could draw that. You could look at the sun and see where the sun is in your garden. Is it on top, in the middle of the sky? Does it come to the side when you're making that drawing? Draw a picture of where the sun is, because some flowers like a lot of sun and some don't. They like shade or they'll burn, just like I have fair skin, so I'll burn, or you do. And then when you see a bee, you could draw a picture of a bee. And when you see a butterfly, you can draw a picture of a butterfly. I'm going to send you these so you can see examples of a butterfly that was in my garden. It's really pretty. And then I want you to go home, and when you're home, to take some petroleum jelly, which is very sticky, and you can cover the leaf on the top, all the leaves on top, and you will see what happens to the plant when you can't breathe. Oh my goodness. You get a plant with a lot of leaves, and you rub the top with a little coat of jelly, and then you put the bottom with a little coat of jelly, and every day for a week, you want to see what's going to happen. What does it tell you about the plants as they take air in and out? If they can breathe or not. If there are openings on the undersides of the leaves, they would be blocked by the jelly, right? So the air moves in and out of these openings, allowing the plant to exchange what's called the gases, because air is made out of gases. So I'll show you an example of that. And then we can take a bag and put it on top of the plant and see how it breathes air, and outside of the air comes, and inside of the air comes water. Pretty cool. And one fun thing you guys can do at home is get an old pair of your dad's socks or mom's socks and walk outside, and you can step on seeds and plants and see what sticks to your socks. And then you can put that sock in some water, just a little bit in a pan, and put it in your house and put it in the dark for a little while, for a week, and see if any of the seeds grow on your sock. Keep the sock a little bit wet. I'm sending this to your house so you can do this, okay? So you're planting your socks. Is that silly? I love that. It's so much fun. Now the next thing I want you to do is take some jars like this, and I want you to put seeds in them. So if I were to take the seeds out of this little plant, let's see which one has seeds. This one has seeds, right? And we take the seeds and we put them in here. We can actually put it all the way around, but I'll open it so you can see it. And then all these seeds, once they dry in here, you can let it dry in here, then you can draw on here with a marker, and you can say, I am a scientist and a seed collector, and I have gooseberry seeds in here. And then you'll know when you want to plant them what they are, and you'll know when it grows that it's a gooseberry. Yeah? So you can make a jar collection and put it on cardboard, or you can label it like that. And those are some fun activities that you can do. And the last one I'm going to send home to you, but you can make beads out of roses. If you put the leaves in a blender, this is so cool, I didn't know this. If you put this in, it's really cool. You mix it with some rose water or water, just anything you want. And then you can pick them early in the morning because that's when they have more scent. They smell better. You choose them all with a similar scent, and you blend it with the water in the blender. And most colors will blend well. And then you mix that either with dough or Play-Doh. You can mix it with whatever you want. And then when it dries, it makes like a little paste, like sticky paste, like peanut butter. And when it dries, you can roll it into a small ball and make beads. And then you can string it on a necklace. We're going to do that. So I'm going to show you what it looks like next week, okay? We have to first do the process. So I'm excited. I'm going to make some beads for you. All right. So when you have a seed, that's where it starts. And guess where it ends? It ends in the same place. After your flowers dry out and they give fruit, and after the fruit dries out, there's a seed. It keeps going and going and going like a circle. So the seeds are our friends. So save your seeds, apple seeds, lemon seeds, and you can plant those right back in the garden. You usually wait till it's dry, but you don't have to. Even an onion you can stick right back in or a carrot right back in the ground, and it'll grow again. All right, you guys, that's really fun. I think you'll like being a gardener or a farmer. Farmer in the Dow, the farmer in the Dow. Hi-ho the Mary-o, the farmer in the Dow. Adele's a place where things grow really pretty and green. All right, let's say goodbye. Now it's time to say goodbye. If you are sad, it's okay to cry. Let's sing everybody's name, and then we'll sing and dance and play. Bye to the children, bye to the grown-ups. Bye, teacher Haya, that rhymes with papaya. And we'll see you all next time. Have fun being a farmer this week. Bye, everybody. Have fun.